All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mixtape Show. It's time for the Artist of the Week interview. This week's Artist of the Week interview is brought to you by Mix Mafia DJs. And on the other line, man, calling in, we got a dope MC. Goes by the name of Lush One, man, joining us here in the Mixtape Show, man. What's good, brother? How you?
What's happening? I'm blessed. It's a beautiful thing. It's an honor to be here. Big fan of the platform.
Definitely, man. Lush One, man. Dope MC, man. So if you don't mind, before we get into the music, man, don't tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of born and raised, what got you into the hip hop thing, and we'll just kind of go from there.
Yes, sir. I'm a product of West Los Angeles, California, born and raised. Loyal to the soil, 5700 block, Clemson. I had older brothers. They're 12 and 14 years older than me. My parents had me when they was 39. So they say it was planned. The verdict is still out regardless. But so my older brothers were already hip. And I was listening to rap music from the time I was 4 years old. I
Okay.
first heard Ice-T 6 in the morning. And
Ah,
I don't know if it was the bass line or if it was the words that you're not supposed to say, which of course resonates with a young impressionable mind. But and from Ice-T it was obviously like I heard all the legends, Run DMC, Fat Boys, Beastie Boys, Eric B and Rakim, but it was NWA, being from the West, NWA, Easy E, all them artists had a big Too Short had a big influence on me from an early age.
nice. And then you said Ice-T was the one that got you, huh? That was the
That
one
was
that
the
drew you in.
first rap song I ever heard. I was 4 years old at the time.
Wow. I think the one that got me, and I was a little bit older, but the song that really I always call it my when I hit my hip hop maturity, when it really punched me in the face a little bit, was OPP, Naughty by Nature.
Oh, of course, of
It was just
course.
something about it because I think it was just more the Michael Jackson sample, and this is before I even understood sampling, you know what I mean?
Right.
But just hearing it and just kind of like, oh, what is that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that record was huge. The whole I think I was in like 5th grade when OPP dropped. The whole that early 90s era, Naughty by Nature, Black Sheep, and all that definite tribe, that definitely resonated with me big time as well.
Yeah. So tell me about the West Coast, man. I know I grew up on the East Coast, so my upbringing is different as far as viewing hip hop. What about you? I know you said Ice-T and everything like that, but were you predominantly like into the West Coast guys first, or were you just kind of all over the board?
All over the board. But I'd be lying if I said that gangster rap wasn't just a huge influence. It was all around me. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And
mm,
that was just the predominant music that I would hear when I left the crib. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like you walk down the street, you hear the 6'4" Impalas, trunk rattling, and it's Compton's Most Wanted, DJ Quick, NWA,
Yeah.
like DOC. These are like the artists that were everywhere and everything to me. And like, yeah, like I said, there's it was other regions too, but the whole in LA, hip hop culture has always been present, but like there's a whole presence of gang culture, which was like just a big influence on my surroundings. I came of age during the LA riots and all
Mhm.
that. So like that whole aesthetic really made a big impression. And even like the music that was in response to that, like Public Enemy from the East Coast, that resonated quite a bit. And but what really made me want to rap was actually when I saw Crisscross, because they were my same age, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like, so I was like, these are, and I wanted to be them. I had the backwards fit on and everything, you feel me? Like, so that, but yeah, gangster rap was always huge.
Yeah. So tell me about this, man, because I always wanted this because I didn't know anybody around this time. So when the Chronic comes out, and then we got Doggy Style. Well, excuse me, we got the Chronic, then we got Doggy Style, and we got Dog Food. That whole Death Row run. What was it like living in that out there when that was going on? Because I know from my perspective, it was like, oh crap, they coming for our stuff as far as
Right,
hip hop artists, you know what I'm saying?
right.
They coming for the crown. So how did it feel out there to have that pride where everybody was, on the West Coast right there?
It was amazing and I loved it. It's funny though, because during that time, like I loved all that music, but I was also really into East Coast music as well.
Mhm.
And like my biggest influence to this day is the hard boom bap, rugged street music of the mid 90s, like Mobb Deep, MOP,
Mm,
Capone and Noriega, Helter Skelter. That was so I was always into a lot of that. And I was kind of like, people would be like, what are you listening to? Why are you slapping that? Why, cut on that Dre real quick. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, nah, this Wu-Tang Clan, you know what I mean? Like, so it was weird. And I know that a lot of people say that the whole East Coast beef was perpetuated by the media and
mm,
somewhat exaggerated, but in the West, like, people really were carrying that flag to an extent, and there was like a like F the East Coast
yeah,
mentality to a degree. But I personally never subscribed to that, although
yeah.
like I pushed the line hard for my section for the West Coast. Like anybody, I got a big California West Coast tattoo. Like I carry that with me wherever I go, but I'm not going to allow that to define my musical taste at the end of the day.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. And me growing up in New York, man, I grew up in Queens, so I was,
Mm-hmm.
I lived in part of Queens called Far Rockaway, but I had a lot of family that
Yep.
lived in Queensbridge too. So I used to always on the weekends go see my aunt in QB just so I can see like, well, maybe I get to see Nas this weekend, maybe I get to see
Right.
Mega in nature. It never happened, but it was cool just walking through there knowing that they still was in that area, doing their thing, man. So Lush One, man, let's talk about your music, brother. How would you explain your sound as far as an artist?
So the way I describe my music is I call it LA noir audio cinema.
Mm,
It's very cinematic. Like I said, I'm rooted in that classic boom bap aesthetic with my own twist to it. And it's like, because I feel like those beats leave room for the artist to be creative lyrically and tell a story. And I have a really, really rich story that goes. I don't really need to use too much imagination because of what I've been through. Just the scope of experiences in my own life is
mm,
so diverse and interesting that I could just pull from my past. And that's not because I made good decisions. That's due to the fact that I was made a lot of bad decisions and lived a lot of time pursuing a life of crime and was addicted to drugs and alcohol for several years. And this led me down a really crazy path. So, that's where I got the LA noir from. So I'm expressing a dark, it's like watching like an old gangster movie if it took place in the 1950s, but like with that West Coast aesthetic at the same time. So it's like a little bit of a Godfather, a little bit of Menace to Society in audio form.
so it's like theme music, basically.
Yeah,
Sound
basically.
a theme. I like that. I like that. I love projects for EPs, LPs that are like a theme. Something you kind of got to follow through the whole thing. And I definitely love tracks that have that theme to it. You know what I'm saying? That makes me tap in a little bit harder to listen to what's being said because I'm like, well, you may drop a jewel that I got to remember, 3 tracks from down the road. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah.
It's like me making references to things that you hear in records later on the album. The stories kind of weave in and out of each other. Like that's I got that from listening to the classics, listening to Illmatic, listening to Raekwon, Only Built for Cuban Links, and that whole cinematic aspect. And I feel like nowadays that's kind of a lost art. People aren't making albums to be
Mhm.
consumed in one sitting. They're making songs with the intention of getting put on a specific Spotify playlist and for the algorithm and all that. Like, nah, like
Mhm.
I want you to listen to it in one sitting, ideally. And even if you
Nice.
don't, like, you're gonna still hear some gems. But if you watch it like you watch in a movie, you don't watch just one scene of a film. You
Mhm.
watch the whole thing beginning to end. So that's how I construct my albums.
Dope, man. Dope, man. So what's the new single, man? What's the lead single going on right now?
So I got a joint called Mad Deep. That was the single for the album, and that's actually the last song that I recorded for from the first 4 months from February to June of 2020. I was in treatment and
Mm.
for drug addiction. I've been clean and sober for 13 months now. By the grace of
Congratulations.
God. Thank
Congratulations
you.
on that.
Thank you. It's amazing. But so I had a whole album that I pretty much completed. I was looking for a proper home, and coincidentally, after I got out of treatment, was getting reacclimated to society in the post-apocalyptic world of COVID-19, which struck while I was in treatment. So I was
Yeah.
like, "Damn, I'm coming home in this Blade Runner outside. Ain't that some?" You feel me? Like, and I happened to due to my fiance, who's an artist as well. She's in a group called Urbano. And she knew Rob Schwartz from Humag, so she connected that dot. Him being an old school boom bap head, he was instantly drawn to my music. So we worked out a deal, and then he kind of said, like, he kind of recommended that I make a single for the album that could be, so I wasn't going to do something that I was gearing towards radio, but I
Hmm.
wanted a record that kind of summarized the album and was from the perspective of my newly found sobriety while still addressing the disarray of what I went through before, you know what I mean? And like, so that's kind of what that record is. It's like a summary of the album. It's the song you would hear at the end credits,
Got
essentially.
you. Got you. And do we have a name for that album?
That album is called Hyams, which is my
Okay.
last name. And
Nice.
I wanted to pick a title because it's an autobiographical work, but that last name, I've always hated it. Kids used to tease it, you know what I mean? When I was younger, I used to get in squabbles over that name. So I was like, what's the most vulnerable title I could use? There it is.
Nice, nice, brother. Nice, man. Well, I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell everybody this, man. Once you're on the show, you are family. You are alumni, my brother. So whenever anything comes up, and I followed you on social media too, we'll get to that. So just inbox me. Hey, man, I want to come on and talk about so and so, and I got you, brother, because you officially are alumni. So welcome to the family, my dude.
Thank you. It's an honor to be a part of it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
man. And again, congratulations on the sobriety, man. And then, like you said, it's wild that when you came out, that like you said, we're dealing with Mad Max right now, where
Man,
the streets are empty.
I didn't know how to act,
And you was
like
like,
this.
how long have I been in there?
Yeah, it was wild because being in there too, we're like the quarantine within a quarantine.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like we're in a cocoon essentially.
Yeah.
So when I hit the streets after that, and I went to a sober living for a couple months, like I wasn't acclimated to wearing a mask or social
Hmm.
distancing. So the first thing I do is go to the supermarket, and I'm like, what is going on here? Like I'm still walking close to people, thinking it's cool. Like
Yeah.
they're like, whoa, whoa, it was gnarly.
It's definitely good material to write, right?
Oh
For
yeah,
the music.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Is the album actually out now, or are
Album
we
is
getting it?
out, all
Okay.
streaming services.
Dope,
It's
dope.
yeah, it's been doing really well. Humag Distribution, Sony Orchard has done an incredible job.
Hmm.
It's a great home for artists that want to be able to do their own thing. That are I already have like my cult following, obsessed fan base, but this is just helping kind of bring it all together in a frame that makes sense and
Yeah.
reach bigger outlets such as yourself.
Is this the first time you've had this type of situation for your music?
I've been on some indie labels and some labels in foreign countries. This is
Mm.
the first time I've been like, and it feels kind of similar to being on an indie label, but you got that Sony backing behind it, so
Hmm.
that puts it in a whole different category.
Yeah, and as an artist, because I'm not an artist, so I wouldn't understand this one, but I kind of get it. But when you have that actual distribution, is that them just putting the music? This isn't like the Master P distribution where they're going to give you $80 million and get
No,
out of here, get out of your way. This is a little bit different now.
a
But
little bit different.
is it them basically just putting your music in places that you may not have access to, or you may not even thought about? You know what I'm saying? Being independent and kind of doing it all on your own.
Yeah, exactly. It's reaching more outlets. It's another layer of protection for the music. They go after that money. So anytime the music's being streamed on anywhere, they gonna make sure that the dough gets back to the artist, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
and being with Rob and Humag, it's kind of a unique situation because most distribution labels, they're not going to be jugging, interviews. They're not going to be,
Mhm.
doing any specialized
Exactly. Yeah.
like consultation and things of that nature. But him and I talk every single day, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's literally an ideal situation
Yeah.
for myself. I would say I would encourage every artist to get signed, but hey, I don't want them to take too much focus off me. You feel
Yeah.
me? But no,
So,
it's a
so
great home for
So
everyone.
yes, that's their situation, especially there at WhoMag, is like you're really getting distribution and marketing, or
A
distribution
hundred
and
percent.
promotion. Whereas
A
before, like
hundred
you say, you
percent.
just get distribution. They now go promote your own album, and get out of here.
Right. Exactly. And like, this is a kind of thing, just that distribution and on a smaller scale without reaching all the same outlets,
Mhm.
without being placed in different hotels and you know what I mean, gyms and all these different
Exactly.
places where like in radio and all that, like that's what people pay other services, you know, like of the CD babies and
Hmm.
distro kids and things like that. And
Hmm.
it's not as official. This is, you know, you actually in the game.
Yeah, yeah, that's dope, man. Congratulations on that, my brother. Because like I said,
Bless you.
I got a few artists that I work with, and I try to preach this to them all the time. I'm like, man, just stay the course, believe in your music, and you're gonna get in the right situation when it's time. You know what I mean? Don't get discouraged. Just keep pushing your music and stay true to yourself, and you're gonna find your way. You know what I mean?
100%. And
Yeah.
it
So,
took me a couple decades to get to where I'm at. You know what I mean? I've been grinding since the late 90s and
yeah, yeah,
here
yeah,
we are. You feel
yeah,
me? So,
yeah,
you know,
definitely, man.
it ain't never too late. This ain't like playing baseball, playing hoop or something where once you reach a certain age, you out of shape and you can't perform it. Like the older you get, if you stay sharp with your skill set, you're gonna get better. You know, like look at artists like Black Thought. You know, he's 50 years old, rapping
Mhm.
better than everybody.
Yeah,
Period. Ain't nobody like bar for bar with him right now. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like,
Last year, especially last year, was a resurgence of just the golden era greats putting out
mm-hmm.
music. You know what I mean? Just because they know they speak about true life, so it's always something to talk about for them. It's not like some cats where they do it for the quote unquote gram and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's definitely dope, man. Social media, my dude. What's the best way we can follow you?
Hit me on IG at LUSHONECA, Twitter at LUSHONE. I'm everywhere. Appreciate y'all.
No problem, man. Lush One, man. Like I said, other brother, you are family here. You are alumni. You can reach out to me directly. If we want to go through Rob or Mixed Mafia, just let them know. But either way, man, you definitely got a home here no matter what, man. And we definitely
I'm
would love to.
popping up on you. That's a for sure shot.
Thank you. Thank you. And definitely since you're out there in the West Coast, man, my wife's from the Inland Empire area. So
Okay.
whenever we hit the West Coast, bro, I'm gonna have to look you up and we're gonna have to, chop it up or
Slide,
something.
man. You feel me? Like we have to hit Roscoe's or something. You feel me?
Definitely, definitely. The original one. I'm gonna go to the
The
original
real
one.
one, the one on
Yeah.
Pico. You feel me?
Yeah.
My section. Period.
Definitely, definitely, man. Anybody you want to shout out before you get up out of here?
Man, shouts to 5150, shouts to 667 Colt, Death Certificate, Crack City, all the homies, you know what I'm saying, pushing the line. Much love.
Definitely, definitely, man. Brother, well, keep doing what you're doing, man. And I'm saying congratulations on the sobriety. Once again, that's a big deal. I don't care if it's one day or 1 year, man. It's definitely dope that you're doing that, man. And stay on that path and then let the music speak for yourself, man.
That part.
There we go. All right, man. He goes by the name of Lush One. He's officially an alumni here in the mixtape show. Go get into some of these joints and we'll be right back. All
Run
right.
it up.
All right.